Welcome back to my Khador Mark III review. Now that I'm done with the casters, I'm going to start in with the Warjacks, and in this episode I'm going right into the character jacks. Let's just start with those ones. And the first one on the list, just going by alphabetical war room order, is Beast 09. Khador Jax, I guess before I really dig into him specifically, we kind of got, I don't know, misled or alluded to in a I don't remember if it was an insider or a post on the forums by one of the devs, but they kind of talked about Khador getting more beefy, and they said that about our Jax, but it kind of turned out not to be true. But in general, our Jax got a mat increase, which is quite nice. It kind of sucks that we can't put Iron Flesh on our Jax. Not that it's always best to put on a solo, but it could have been kind of cool. The no blast damage would have been dumb, but hey, armor 22 is armor 22. Anyways, Beast 09. So, stat wise, he stayed about the same. Speed 4, like all of our jacks, pretty much. Strength 12, like most of them. Mat went up from 7 to 8, and that's pretty awesome because 8 hits pretty damn reliable. Rat 4, who cares? No guns. Defense 10, as always. Armor 20, with our nice 34 boxes. His weapons, he's still got the open fist, that's PNS 15, and his icebreaker, that is range 2, like it was reached before, PNS 19. Just like the Juggernaut chassis he's based on. His bond changed. He used to have an affinity to Sorsha, where he could re-roll failed slam power attack and charge attack rolls. Now his bond reads, if this model begins the game in Sorsha's battle group, it is bonded to her. This model is not considered to be bonded while under your opponent's control. Bonded, blah, blah, blah. When it's bonded to Sorsha in her control range, it gains Shield Guard. And Shield Guard is when a friendly model is directly hit by a non-spray ranged attack during your opponent's turn, well in 3 inches of... I hit something wrong on War Room. 3 inches of the model with Shield Guard. You can choose to have this model with Shield Guard directly hit instead. It is automatically hit and suffers all damage and effects. A model can use Shield Guard only once per round and cannot use it if it's incorporeal, knockdown, or stationary. So getting Shield Guard for Sorshas is pretty damn sweet. Hyper aggressive, when this model suffers damage from an enemy attack at any time except while it is advancing. After the attack is resolved, it can immediately make a full advance directly towards the attacking model. That's the same as before. It's got Murderous. It used to be an imprint, and this got better. This model gains an additional die on melee attack rolls against warrior models. This thing is going to kill melee infantry. Before, Murderous was, during its activation, it can spend 1 focus point to use Murderous. Now it just has Murderous. So you combine that with Power Up and the fact it went up to Mat 8. This thing is going to be able to hit any warrior models, period. Mat 8 with 3 dice. I mean, you can hit Defense 18 with that. I mean, this thing can take out Kayazi Eliminators. You have Crit Freeze, which is cool, because if somehow a warrior model survives your attack, it'll be stationary, or a good chance it'll be stationary with 3 dice. And it has Thresher. So yeah, this thing will eat infantry for days, and it will destroy Jax pretty well. You know, it's not going to miss Jax on Mat 8. So Beast 09, pretty good increases. Its point value was 11 in Mark II. It's now 21 in Mark III. So it's fairly expensive for a Jack. But, man, this thing can do work for days. One of the cool things about that is Khador infantry is really good at killing Jacks. So if we can send our Jacks against other infantry that's not as good at killing Jacks, and kill Jacks with our infantry in some of these Sorcialists with Beast 09, and that sounds pretty damn good. This guy will just chew him up for days. Or I can even see him in a Vlad 3 list. Give him sidestep. And just let him chew through everyone. Lots of cool abilities with him. Yeah, under Vlad 3's feet with sidestep. Holy crap. This guy could just Pac-Man through an entire army. Anyways, on to the next one, which is even more impressive. Behemoth. Behemoth has turned into a total badass. Not that he wasn't a badass before. His stats did change a little bit, and he is very expensive, but I think he's worth it. So, speed 4, strength 12, mat 7. He previously was 6. Rat 4 is the same, 10. Armor went down from his magical 21 down to a 20, but he still has all 36 boxes. Why that's okay? Because his bombards went up to AoE 4, so now they're range 14, rate of fire 1, AoE 4, POW 14. He's got 2 of them, just like before. His open fist are PNS 12 with armor piercing, just like before. So how he changed a lot. His subcortex used to be like 3.5 pages long, and you could put 3 focus on either his regular cortex or his subcortex. Subcortex was for range, regular was for melee. As long as the subcortex was up, he could make melee and range attacks at the same time, but the range attacks would be -2 rat, so you'd only be shooting him at 2. All that crap. Now it's really simplified. He can no longer shoot and do melee in the same activation, but he got powerful attack instead. So how it reads now, the S boxes of this Warjack's damage grid represent its subcortex system. Well, this Warjack subcortex system is not crippled. Its range weapons gain powerful attack. When attacking with a weapon with powerful attack, this model can spend 1 focus point to boost all attack and damage rolls for the attack. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, because that means boosted blast damage on those attacks as well. That's crazy. So he became one of the more focus heavy but incredibly scary jacks into one of the more focus efficient jacks with powerful attack. Yeah. I mean, boosted blast damage. It's only Power 7, but Power 7 with 3 dice is doing quite a bit of damage, and that can even be scary for casters now. And yeah, you get that free focus you use just to use power up. You still got arcing fire. Like I said, armor piercing also changed. Before, armor piercing was on big bases, and on small bases you got +2 damage. Now it's just half on everything, and that makes him even scarier for casters. Now, if an enemy ever lets Behemoth get to him, that's pretty terrible. But we do have some movement shenanigans that help our jacks do that. But if he gets hold of a caster, PNS 12, Mat 7 with armor piercing, that's gonna kill the shit out of a caster, like real fast. That's just flat out scary. I mean, a lot of casters are they're pretty much all between 14 and 18. So that would put him down to 7 or 9. So he's dice plus 5 to 3, 3 to 5, I guess. If he gets in range of a caster, yeah, that's pretty damn nice. So yeah, Behemoth just became an insane powerhouse. His range game is going to be so scary now, because yeah, those boosted blast damage at AoE 4 are going to chew up all the enemy's infantry. And I mean, boosted POW 14 range shots too, that'll mess up jacks. And since it's boosted attack and damage rolls, he can hit with that Rat 4. I mean, you can hit some pretty high targets with that, which also makes him really scary for the ranged assassination game, because once again, boosted POW 14s on a caster, that's nothing to laugh at. With Sorsha 1's, feat of freezing, or Sorsha 2's feat of, double damage past armor, or, Zerkova with her ranged assassination game and her ability to freeze casters. I mean, pretty much everyone. Behemoth is going to be a mainstay. Now, his point value, he was 13 in Mark II. He's now 24 in Mark III. 24, it might be the most expensive Jack, non-colossal Jack, in Mark III that I've seen at least. But damn, he is worth it because he will mess things up. And he is technically cheaper than Mark II because in Mark II terms, this would be 26 points. So he's a little less, but he's going to take up most of your Jack points. And your other Jacks, over a little bit. But for his focus efficiency and what he can do, I think he's plenty worth it. Next up is Black Ivan. Black Ivan stats: speed 4, strength 12, mat 7, which was previously 6, rat 5, which is the same. His defense before was 12 and it went down to 10. His armor went up to 20. His bombard, like the behemoths and all of the other ones, are now 14 range, AoE 4, POW 14. His bear claw is the same, but now range 1, PNS 16. Same grid. Before he was 10, now he's 19, so he went down 1 point there, or half a point from Mark II. His bond, he used to get boosted range attack rolls, and he still gains boosted range attack rolls, so that's with Harkovich. Still has Bulldoze, which is a very good ability. Bulldoze is when this model is base to base with an enemy model during its normal movement, it can push it 2 inches directly away. You can only do it once per enemy. Bulldoze does not work with tramples. He lost dodge for evasive, which I think is pretty much the same thing. It's now when this model is hit by an enemy range attack, immediately by the attack, after the attack is resolved, you can advance 2. Before, if it was missed. So that is kind of different. I'd rather have it hit, especially with 10. Even with 12, they're going to hit him. So that helps his movement a little bit. He gained point blank, which during its activation, a model can make melee attacks with its ranged weapon when with a melee range of half an inch. You don't add the strength to it, and charge attack rolls are not boosted. But with the AoE, that's pretty cool because it can't drift. So, he can do some cool stuff there. Arcing Fire on the Bombard, and the Bear Claw has crit brutal damage. On a critical hit, gains an additional die in the weapon's damage rolls. So, kind of stayed the same, but just because our Jacks got more efficient, he got a little bit better. With a Harkovich list, and Harkovich is now good. He's going to be pretty deadly with those boosted attack rolls, and then he can spend his one focus to boost the damage. So that's not bad. But it won't boost all the damage on the blast like Behemoth, but it's still pretty nice. Not the greatest when he gets into melee range, but it is a PNS 16 open fist, which is decent for an open fist. But he's mainly for his range game. He's a bit expensive for that still at 19, especially with the price of some of our Jacks. So I don't think we're going to really see him outside of a Hark list. But with Hark, he is going to be insanely good because he's going to be able to snipe. That Rat 5 compared to 4, I know it's only 1, but that makes a decent difference. And then the boosted rolls on top of it. He's going to be pretty nice, especially because Hark can make him shoot multiple times. So after Black Ivan, then we move down to Drago. I say it like that because Drago's the character Jack that probably got the worst treatment. He changed quite a bit, so I guess I'll just dig into him like the other ones, kind of go stat by stat. So speed 4, strength 12, which did go up 1. Mat 7, which stayed the same. Rat 3, defense 11, armor 18, so pretty standard berserker stats other than the mat. I think and the strength. I don't remember the new strength in berserkers. Executioner Axe is now, because the strength went from 11 to 12, it's up to a PNS 17, which does sound pretty good. 2 17s, it's not huge on a Jack, but that's not bad. He cost 14 points. He was 8 points in Mark II, so that got a little bit better. They have 32 on his damage grid, like a Berserker chassis. He got Berserk, which all the Berserkers really got. Well, I guess not all of them, but the base Berserker chassis got it. Berserks, if you destroy one or more models with a melee attack during your combat action, you immediately make another one with a model in melee range, and he is range 1 like all Jacks now. Here's where the nerf kind of hits. Well, two things. The bond. His bond before used to be Hand of Fate or Sign Importance on him, which really let him crank it up. That because on average, Hand of Fate gives you a +2, which cranked his damage up to an average of more like an 18 and Matt like roughly a 9. No, it's not exactly that, but it kind of works out like that. Now his bond is while this model is bonded to Vlad, you choose not to make unstable rolls for it. Or sorry, that was his affinity before. So that's the same. His oh no, you just had both of those. So yeah, he kept that. He lost the SNP, which really sucks. He got Imprint Gravewind. This model can spend 1 focus at any point during its activation to get +2 defense and Poltergeist for 1 round. Poltergeist is when an enemy model misses this. Basically, if an enemy model misses a model with Poltergeist with an attack, immediately after that attack is resolved, you can choose to push the enemy model D3 directly away from the model. It helps if they do miss. They don't get a second swing at them, and that would push them up to defense 13. Now, certain casters do have defense buffs for Jack, so you can actually get him up to a defense 15, which would be kind of cool with that. So if they, try to attack him and miss, it pushes them 3 inches away and they can't hit him again. Helps with survivability. But he used to have an imprint for Run Riot, where you could spend 1 focus point to use it, and after resolving an attack which a model destroyed 1 or more enemy models with a normal melee attack, if there are no enemy models within its melee range, it can move up to 1 inch. So between SMP and that, it was pretty awesome. Unstable, like all Berserkers, but Unstable does not. It's more than 1 focus point now, so it doesn't count for the 1 free focus from power up. And you still have critical amputation. On a critical hit on a Warjack or Warbeast, fill in unmarked damage boxes or circles of the last column or branch damaged, which is really fucking awesome and lets them put a lot of extra damage on it. But before, with the SMP on Vlad, you rolled a lot more crits with him. So he's kind of complicated. His PNS went up, which is great. I wish he got a mat increase like the other Khador Jacks. That would have been much cooler if he went up to mat 8. People aren't that excited about Berserk, but Drago's kind of a infantry chewer. Although with his 217s, he's a little bit better with heavies now. But Berserk, especially with some of the Vlads, man, he can kill a lot of shit. Especially with Vlad 3. Berserk and Vlad 3's feat on Drago is really awesome. Gravewind, I don't know how useful that is. I guess we'll see when it comes into play. Defense 13 is seriously a lot better than 11. So it could really increase his survivability. I'm trying to think if that was Iris that could boost their damage. Yeah, superiority, +2 speed, mat, and defense cannot be knocked down. So if you spend that 1 focus, I guess you just put more focus on them. But putting superiority on them or any of those things that increase the Jack's defense Defense 15 on a Jack's pretty scary because that makes him pretty hard to kill. So I don't think he's as neutered as some people are saying. I think with the Vlads, he's still going to do some pretty special things, but he is a little toned down. Um, but I guess we're going to have to wait to actually see him in action a little bit more before we kind of make that an official statement. Next up is Ruin. And Ruin stayed pretty awesome because Ruin is an awesome Jack. Stats: speed 4, strength 12, mat 8. We're at 3, defense 10, armor 20. So nothing there changed. He did lose Abomination, which is actually kind of nice for our own troops. We no longer have to kind of jog around him. Armored Fist at PNS 16, open fist. And his mace is range 2 like its old reach. Magical weapon, PNS 18, awesome as it was before. And the same 34-point grid like we're used to. He went from 10 to 17. So that's a good discount on him for cost. He did change a little bit with the soul collecting though. So before I get to that, his bond to Butcher, you got all that more bond verbiage crap. It gains boundless charge, which is +2 charge or +2 movement on a charge without being forced to use focus on it, and Pathfinder. So with Butcher, again, very focus friendly, especially since you get a free focus on it. Sacred Ward instead of Orgoth Seal, so instead of the -3 range and D3 damage, you just can't cast spells on it. Which, well, cannot be targeted by enemy spells, Sacred Ward says, so now we can put spells on him. That's very cool. Soul Taker. Soul Taker used to be a little bit better than it is now, but it's kind of got a bigger range too, so it might balance. So before Soul Taker Red, this model gains 1 soul when a living enemy model is destroyed within 2 inches of it. This model can have up to 3 souls at a time. During its activation, this model can spend a soul, or it can spend soul tokens to gain additional attacks, boost attack or damage rolls at 1 token per attack or boost. So now it reads, this model can gain a soul token when a living enemy model is destroyed within 5 inches of it. So no longer counts for friendly models, only enemy models, but the range did go up to 5 inches. This model gains the destroyed model soul token. The model can have up to 5 soul tokens, not 3. At the start of this model's activation, you can remove soul tokens from this model to give it 1 focus point for each token removed. So you can no longer kind of just keep attacking with him and just keep turning souls into pseudo focus. You have to wait next turn to use those souls. So that's kind of a give and take. But it also gained Arcane Vortex. This model can immediately negate any spell that targets it or a model within 3 inches of it by spending 1 soul token. The negated spell does not take effect, but the cost remains spent. So yeah, you can do some protection with that, which is very cool. And then the mace remains with Dispel. So yeah, very, very cool stuff with Rune. A little bit different. Some might kind of consider that a nerf. I think it's a give and take. It's about even. You lose some of the shenanigans you could do before, but he gains some new things that makes him slightly better too, and he got cheaper. So I think it's a win. He's still going to be a badass. He's still got so many of his things, and you can still load him up with souls and make him an incredibly focus efficient. Because since a Jack can only get 3 focus on it, and he gets the automatic one, if you have 5 souls on him, that means you could take 2 off, fill him up to 3. He still has 3 souls left on him. Kill some things, get back up to 5, and you can. He's really focus efficient. So I think we're not gonna have issues with Rune being awesome, especially on Butchers. But I think he's good enough where, well, he might see a little less play with some other casters now. You can use characters in all your lists now, but some of our other Jacks just got so good. I don't know if we're going to be taking a lot of characters when they don't match up with casters all the time. Mainly because the Juggernaut got so good. You might just want to bring the Juggernaut instead for 12 points. I mean, that's the thing. Torch. Torch got a huge crank up, which is good, because he was a underused Jack for sure. So his stats: speed 4, strength 12, Mat 7, Rat 5, just as before. Defense 10, armor 20. He is still immune to corrosion and fire, and he gained assault, but I believe he lost gunfighter. He now gained grenade launchers, 2 of them, range 10, rate of fire 1, AoE 3, POW 10, similar to the Spriggans. We'll find out more about that in a sec. The flamethrower is the same. Spray 6, rate of fire 1, AoE nothing because it's spray 6, POW 12, fire and continuous fire. Spike fists, PNS 16, open fist, and Ripsaw went down from an 18 to a 17. Still 34 boxes. He went to 18 cost instead of 10. But we're going to see why in a second here. So his bond to Strakov is sprint. Sprints at the end of an activation if it destroyed or removed from play 1 or more enemy models, make a full advance. Still is relentless charge. While advancing as part of a charge, you gain Pathfinder. Very good. The grenade launcher has arcing fire and targeting flare, just like the Spriggan. So targeting flare is, instead of making an attack with this weapon, you can place a 3-inch AoE completely within 10 inches of this model. Sorry, AoE anywhere completely within 10 inches of this model, with a center point in this model's line of sight intervening, or I can't read right now. Let me try this again. Place a 3-inch AoE anywhere completely within 10 inches of this model, the center point in this model's line of sight, ignoring intervening models. While a model is within the AoE, it loses stealth, and models can ignore cloud effects while determining line of sight to it. The AoE remains in play for 1 turn. Ripsaw has sustained attack. So he lost Gunfighter and Virtuoso, and he lost putting the smoke bombs on himself. I think he lost that. Yeah, I don't see that on his card anymore. But, yeah, him gaining what the Spriggan had with a targeting flare, so now we have that in 2 jacks. And if you're not going to use that, he's got 3 ranged attacks in 1 turn, and he's Rat 5. Like, that's pretty legit. The spray 6, and then the 2 grenade launchers, that's pretty damn good. His range on his fist and his Ripsaw are range 1, which is pretty solid as well. Assault, I think, is a pretty big deal for him, because you can either use a grenade launcher or a flamethrower. And yeah, that's just a ton of good stuff, giving him a lot of utility. I think sprint's a pretty big deal, especially with Strakov, giving you a ton of movement shenanigans with him. Pathfinder on a charge, which, you know, with assault is even cooler. Lets him get to where he needs to go. So many cool things with him. So a lot of people are really excited for Torch, saying he's going to make Spriggan kind of pointless now. We'll see if that's true or not. But yeah, I think he brings a ton of utility to the game. And he just got insanely, well, maybe not insanely better, but a hell of a lot better. And the fact that Strakov also got better, I think we're going to see a lot of play with him. So it's kind of nice that both Torch and Ivan should be seeing some more play, because their casters just got flat out better. So that's it for this episode with the character jacks. Next one I'll go over start with the Colossals, and then I'll work my way, I guess, chassis by chassis through the rest of them. So thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.